I tell you. Good evening and welcome to this swearing in ceremony of our five new board members. We are certainly excited for the change and excited for this new journey together, and we certainly want to take time to honor these board members for the commitment they've made to their community, the selfless act that they are, and selfless duties that they are taking on. And thank you all for coming out, for being a part of this great occasion. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Judge Kyle Aiken.
All right. Thank y'all for having me. It's a privilege to be here, and I appreciate each of you who serve. It's a great honor to serve. It's a privilege, and it's a job, and we appreciate the fact that you've stepped up to the challenge to move this county forward. Doris Black, if you'll come on up. If you'll raise your right hand. I, Doris Black,
I, Doris Black,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will uphold the duties of the office
that I will uphold the duties of the office
of Jackson-Madison County School Board member,
of Jackson-Madison County School Board member,
to which I have been elected,
to which I have been elected,
and which I am about to assume,
and which I am about to assume,
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability,
and according to the law,
and according to the law,
so help me God.
so help me God.
All right. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. You will sign it. Can you get her to sign it? Okay. All right. James Johnson. Let me sign the top line. First sign here. All right. All right. If you raise your right hand. I, James Johnson,
I, James Johnson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will uphold the duties of the office
that I will uphold the duties of the office
of the Jackson-Madison County School Board member,
of the Jackson-Madison County School Board member,
to which I have been elected,
to which I have been elected,
and which I am about to assume,
and which I am about to assume,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
and according to the law,
and according to the law.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
AJ Massey. I, AJ Massey,
I, A.J. Massey,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will uphold the duties
that I will uphold the duties
of the office
of the office
of Jackson-Madison County School Board member,
of Jackson-Madison County School Board member,
to which I have been elected,
to which I have been elected,
and which I am about to assume,
and which I am about to assume,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
and according to the law,
and according to the law,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. Morris Merriweather. Raise your right hand. I, Morris Merriweather,
I, Morris Merriweather,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will uphold
I will uphold
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of Jackson-Madison County School Board member,
of Jackson-Madison County School Board member,
to which I have been elected,
which I have been elected,
and which I am about to assume,
which I am about to assume,
to the best of my abilities,
to the best of my ability,
and according to the law,
according to the law.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. If you raise your right hand. I, Shannon Stewart,
I, Shannon Stewart,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will uphold the duties
that I will uphold the duties
of the office
of the office
of Jackson-Madison County School Board member,
of the Jackson-Madison County School Board member,
to which I have been
to
elected,
which I have been elected,
and which I am about to assume,
and which I am about to
to
assume,
the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
and according to the law,
and according to the law,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. By the authority vested in me from the citizens of Madison County, I declare these board members to be duly elected. Please join me in a round of applause and congratulations to each.
All right, I've got 6 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get started. We'll start with, if you don't mind, a moment of silence, and if you would. If you you would, we'll keep in mind all the folks on the coast and all the responders and other public employees who are headed that way to help them out.
Present. Colors. Ladies and gentlemen, the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carried. Colors. Ready. Cut. Left. Face. Forward. Column right. March. Column right. March.
Again, I'd like to thank Chief Reagans and the Southside Junior ROTC, Navy ROTC for the presentation of colors. Chief, would you like to bring them back in and introduce them? There you go.
All right. We have Cadet Hughes. Raise your hand, Cadet Hughes. Cadet Porter. Cadet Black. And Cadet Cheers. He's our unit commanding officer. And I just want to thank the board for letting us be here on this historic occasion. And this is going to be a memory these cadets will be able to share and remember for a long time and pass it on to others. Our Cadet Cheers is a senior. Cadet Black is a junior. Cadet Porter is a senior. And Cadet Hughes is a sophomore. All right. Cadet Coach. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next thing on the agenda is an approval of the consent agenda.
Order, Chairman. Can it be explained what's the difference between the consent agreement and the approval of the agenda?
The consent agenda is basically, it's several items that are just typical business, like the approval of certain checks and the human capital report and things like that, that you review ahead of time. And it's all done just through one motion and one vote early. The agenda is the balance of the agenda that's posted. At that time, you can ask to add or have things removed from either agenda.
Sure.
Approve the consent. Motion to approve the consent agenda by Kevin, second by Ms. Hampton. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. All right. Next on the agenda is an approval of the agenda. Motion to approve by Mr. Campbell,
Second.
second by Ms. Hampton. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous. All right. Next is the election of board officers. Yes, sir.
Chairman, I'd like to nominate Mr. Calvin Alexander for chairman.
Okay.
Second.
All right, Kevin Alexander. Any further?
I'd like to nominate Jim Campbell.
I appreciate that. I'm going to decline, but I thank you. Thank you.
All right. Nominations for Kevin Alexander.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Wayne Arnold, if you're willing.
Second. Nomination for Kevin Alexander and Wayne Arnold. Any other? All right. Well, alphabetical order, or you want to do it electronically? Okay. All those in favor of Kevin Alexander, raise your hand or signify by aye. All right, 5-4. Motion passes. Next up will be nominations for vice chair.
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Janice Hampton, Vice Chair.
All right, Janice Hampton. Any other nominations?
Second.
All right. Anyone else? I'll nominate A.J. Massey. Doesn't necessarily require a second. Anyone else? All right, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of Janice Hampton signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-4. All right. Mr. Chairman, you want to take the seat or continue the mission? Okay. Oh, that's right, that's correct. We do have two more. We have any nominations for the office of parliamentarian?
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Shannon Stewart.
Okay. Other nominations? You got it by unanimous.
Thank y'all.
And the, next is the TLN representative.
I nominate Speak Johnson.
All right.
Second.
Anyone else? You got it again. It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Right. All right, now I open the floor up to public comments. Anyone wishing to approach the board or address this meeting, come ahead, state your name. Remember, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Congratulations to all of you new board members. You're in for a ride for your life. It's going to be easy. Time's going to pass so fast you won't even know you've been here. Let me just say this, that first of all, thank all of those who have served on this body, those that recently have now stepped down because of the election. Appreciate the work that they have done as well. And want to say first and foremost, thanks to our teachers here in Jackson-Madison County for the tremendous job that they do. I represent the NAACP. My name is Harold Carter, president of the unit. The issue before all of us today is how do we get our children from where they are now to where they need to be. This has been a tremendous task. Over the years, we have not successfully done that overall. Realizing that our district is somewhat, out of 124 districts, we rank near the bottom. Not all students, be for sure. Some of those are learning. But it's too many of us, particularly children of color, that are not. Our resources are obviously limited. The reason why we fought so hard to make sure that the money that was allocated toward our criminal justice system, our jail, was directed toward education. It's not needed in our jail system. It just needs better management. 45 to 55% of those inmates can be let out tomorrow. They're there because they can't make a bond. They're poor. Not that they're murderers, rapists, The judge have set a bond, but it's too high for them to make. That money, $30+ million, should go to this system. We're willing to promote that, to fight for that. We hope that you will be able to fight for it as well. Priority number one, our children need to read. There should never be not one more dollar spent on anything other than toward that effort. Certainly, we at one time had a 17,000 or 18,000 unit school children in Jackson-Madison County. We're down to 13. Private schools have taken a lot of our students. But they're gone. They're not coming back anytime soon. If you take a look at USJ and Jackson Christian, they're spending millions and millions of dollars on their facilities. They're not coming back. Educate the ones that are here. Now, we closed schools, $192 million behind in back maintenance. That took over 15, 20 plus years that we neglected it from this body. And I know you're trying to pay Peter to pay Paul, I understand that. But now is the time. We don't have no more time to waste. 3 years ago, we lost children out of this system. They graduated without the functionality that they should to go on for higher learning. 2 years ago, we lost them, and we're going to lose them again this year. Prioritize what you're spending now. If you have to put 2020 on hold, that's fine. Because if we're graduating low numbers of children that cannot read and function at the next level, we got to have a stop to it. Our teachers deserve better, this community deserves better, and most of all, our children deserve better. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
May I make a comment, sir? Okay. My name is Alan Hess, and I'm a teacher at Liberty Technology High School. And I just want to say that discipline is a major problem over at Liberty. And almost every day, you know, I hear a loud roar in the hallway, then kids start running toward it, and I assume that some kind of fight is broken out. Last week, I personally corrected a young man about hitting a girl hard enough for her to get mad and hit him back. And I told him, you know, you're not going to do that in here. You know, we're not going to play like that. And his response was, you know, you want to get jumped? And so I set him down. He was calm enough at this point, and I had to talk with him, and hopefully everything was good at that point. But I wish this was just an isolated incident I could tell you about. But it's not. It's just our principals, they need the autonomy to be able to make decisions that will keep both the faculty and the students safe. And why should one person that is acting out cause everyone else to stop learning? So I'm just asking the board to give the principals the control to reestablish the structure and to maintain a positive atmosphere so that everyone can learn. So thank you.
Hello, my name is Eldridge Mann. I work for the school system here. I'm here to talk about the track like I always do. Girls in Madison, I know y'all saw the newspaper this year. We went to the state, we showed up and we showed out. But we don't have a good track here. I'm asking the board members, I know y'all have been talking about it, I've been busy myself, but we do need a good track here in Jackson, Tennessee, we really do, okay? And our kids are going to state every year, and we're breaking records. Them girls went there and broke a record in state. But we don't have a good track here to do more and more. We have to go to Dyersburg. We have to go out to USJ to get a better time. We need a track, and that track over there at Liberty is not a track. And I know in 7 more months, y'all gonna do something, but we need a little cushion on that thing they call the track at Liberty. We need something over there, okay? We need something for our kids. Y'all have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
You always save the best to the last. I'm Sheila Godwin, community activist, and I'm speaking. First, I want to congratulate the board. I think you're a good fit. there are some things that I did not agree with the last board members. So I want to kind of tell the new board members some things that I didn't agree with. It won't take less than 3 minutes. First of all, I do not agree with teachers not getting paid. If they're promised to get paid, I think they should get paid, and I don't think it should go to level 1, level 2, because if a teacher is at level 1 and doesn't get paid, who's to say that she may not get, if you do it again next year, will continue not to get paid. So how can you reward someone that makes a lower level unless you give them a pay increase? So I really think just giving the teachers that make certain levels, that's really not giving the teachers what they need. They need the pay. If you promise them a pay, I think you should give it to them. And so next year, I'm asking that you look back at this year and see what you did not do and try to put it in the budget for them to get their teacher pay. Second thing, consent agenda. I can't stand it. I don't think, when I say I can't stand it, I'm saying that I don't think it's fair that the board doesn't go over certain things on the consent agenda, because a lot of people in the public, they don't even know what the items are on the consent agenda. And I as a person that comes to the meetings all the time, I can't even keep up. So I just think it should be another way to do it other than just vote on the consent agenda and the public not know what you're voting on. Third thing, the last board used to whisper, and the people be sitting out, didn't understand. That makes me think you don't want the people out sitting out to know what you're talking about. This is a public meeting. So please, when you're talking, please speak enough for the public to hear. I'm not worried about it. I love my job. I've been working a long time and still have not. In the last 5 years, I haven't got a pay increase. I'm a substitute teacher, and I have a degree. But yet, what you did is you went down on the substitutes with didn't have a 4-year college degree, and you went up on the teachers was certified, and you kept people like me that have a degree the same pay scale. I haven't got a pay increase in how many years. And let me say, Mr. Jones, while I'm up here, I went to EOC, and they gave me a right to sue you guys last year, and I decided not to sue. I said I'd talk to you. I didn't have time to sit down and talk to you again yet. But they did give me a right to sue, and I had 3 months to sue, and I decided I'm not going to sue. I'm going to talk to you, so I'm going to have to talk to you. Because I think it's ridiculous that I've been an employee with this system. I guess the bell ringer, they don't want me to say it, since 1990, have not had the opportunity for a full-time job. But I do it because of the kids. And last but not least, with the bell ringing, I think I'm happy. I think we're going to have a good year. And I want you to know that, Mr. Merriweather, I would have wanted you to, you did win, but without me, I still would have supported you, okay? That's a personal side item. That's it. Thank you, and God bless.
And we have one additional appearance before the board. We have the TSBA School Volunteer Award recipient. Dr. Jones has got the information on.
Yes, at our recent TSB regional meeting, I believe it was, they're all running together. Was that last week? That was last week, okay. We recognized Miss Linda Clayton as the Volunteer of the Year for the Southwest Corps, and I asked Miss Linda if you don't mind coming up. I have a few, I just want to make sure that you're acknowledged before this body. Miss Linda Clayton is a key volunteer. Miss Linda Clayton is a key volunteer at Lincoln Elementary School. She has helped families in ways such as giving furniture for children to have at their homes, food, help tutoring through the Arise Jackson program, mentor struggling young ladies daily, outreach services with her church, and etc. Miss Linda comes to Lincoln every morning to help this one little girl get her day started. Because of her consistency and love shown to this child, the little girl has started to try hard and to make better choices. That can be attributed to her not wanting to hurt Miss Linda. Miss Linda knows how to build relationships with students and their families. Miss Linda comes to Lincoln to tutor second grade students on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Miss Linda helped a family that did not have any furniture get a house full of furniture and food to eat. She would go by the children's house to check on them and take them out on outings during school breaks. Ms. Linda has reached out to her church to get them to support the school through activities such as providing food for Lincoln Community Summit. She also gets her church to provide supplies and uniforms. She understands the meaning of it takes a village to raise a child. Ms. Linda is very caring and a loving volunteer. She is truly invested in the children at Lincoln. She believes in them, and it shows through her daily dedication to help them succeed. There is not a day that goes by that Ms. Linda is not at Lincoln giving back to our scholars. She is truly valued here. Because of her service, we have been able to help struggling families make a way for their children. Ms. Linda Clayton is an awesome and dedicated volunteer with Lincoln Elementary School and the Jackson-Madison County Schools. Educationally yours, Principal LaDonna Braswell. Again, thank you, Ms. Linda, and let's give her one more round of applause.
Next item on the agenda, announcements from the JMCEA representative, Ms. Erling Price.
Good evening. I would like to say welcome to all the new board members. Thank you. Looking forward to working with you. And also, I have a request. We're asking the board members to schedule committee meetings after school is out. We would just consider it so we can be represented at those meetings. Because we're teachers first, okay? And then I had a long, big speech about discipline and safety. But I talked to Dr. Jones, and since this has been brought out, I'm gonna tell you, it was about liberty. And I also talked to Dr. Epperson, and they have already put a plan in place for discipline over there at Liberty. The problem was identified. She said she felt confident with what the superintendent and the board was doing to help them with that problem. So we're gonna give them an opportunity to work it. And also, I will continue to talk to Dr. Jones about it. We won't let it just be on standby, but we'll talk about the safety. It was a big thing at JMCA meeting the other day about the safety over there. So I want to say thank you, Dr. Jones, for getting on top of that. She said it was really funny that I called her this evening because they had just met today. All right, thank you all.
Next up, Mike, good to see you here on time.
Thank you.
With the financial report.
I've got your printed budgets, they're hot off the presses. I wanted to make a couple of comments about those, if I could. I apologize. We don't have anything for up on the board that you in the audience going to be hard to follow along. But I would like to look on page H, in the front of your book. I had some school-specific charts in here that I might want to bring your attention to. It's several things about Madison County and the population of Madison County in all of this before you get all to the budgets. But I did want to go over page H to you, and I went to
from the Department of Education website to get these numbers from. It's probably a little bit different from the TEA or some other sources where you get some salary information from, but this does compare ours apples to other districts, so this is a comparison. And you will see, as far as salaries, instructional personnel, including principals and assistant principals, that sort of thing, Madison County is a little bit above the state average. We do rank 45th out of 142 systems, and that is a little bit around a third, the top third. Out of 95 systems, we rank 17th, and the rural West Tennessee systems rank third. I count rural West Tennessee systems anything west of the Tennessee River outside of Memphis. That's the way I count that. A couple other things, the salaries of classroom teachers. We are, I guess, significantly lower. We're about $1,000 lower than the state average. But also, it was interesting to me that we did rank with the 142 systems as 44th. So, again, we're higher than the salaries of instructional personnel as far as rankings are concerned. One thing that I did want to call your attention to, as far as average daily membership and average daily attendance, you'll see those numbers, and of course our system is quite a bit larger than most systems across the state. But if you'll notice there, as far as average daily membership and average daily attendance, that is, those two factors there, that gives you a rate that people are just not coming to school. And the statewide average is approximately 5%, and ours is a little bit less than 7%. I don't know if that makes any difference or not, but that's what the numbers are showing. And also, I like to look at the expenditures per average daily attendance. Ours is a little over $10,000 per student, and the state average is almost $9,600. That puts us 40th out of 142 systems, and out of county-wide systems, you got 95 counties in the state of Tennessee, puts us 16th. Also put one other thing in there is the students with disabilities, and the state average is 902 per system. That averages out to 13.3% students with disabilities. Our disabilities are 14.5%. Of course, those students with disabilities cost the system a lot more money per student. So that might be some of the reason for causing some of that. And by far, we are the largest number of students with disabilities in rural West Tennessee. I did put down on the last part is the funding percentages. Some districts, such as, poor districts, I like to use Lake County as an example. They do fund their system is a little bit more per student than we do, but most of their funding comes from the state. Their local percentage is pretty low. So you'll see the state percentage, local percentage, and federal percentage of all of ours. Now I just did the local funding out of 142 systems. We rank 28. Out of 95 county systems, we rank 11th, and in rural West Tennessee, we rank 1st. So, but that chart's school specific. And on the next page, page I, didn't want to go through that in detail, but you'll see the projected expenditures. The school system is by far the largest department in the county, and projected expenditures are 64% of the entire expenditures of the county. And page J, I didn't want to take up much time, and I think you all know this, but I've got 7 years of data here on the original budget that the previous board approved and the county commission approved, where the vast majority of your dollars for education goes is in salaries and benefits. And this year on the original budget, is 82.86%. So that's where the vast majority of the expenditures for schools go. But like I said, a lot of the charts and facts that I have in here have to do with schools, but they're combined with some other things. These are some things that I pulled out as school specific, but I just wanted to highlight those. And feel free to contact us if you have any questions about anything. But I tried to pull out as many school specific things as possible without boring everybody. But anyhow, there it is, Mr. Chairman.
Wayne, can I ask Mike?
Yes, sir.
If I can, on the 141 budget, on page 68, looks like if I'm reading this correctly, we're for the FY18, we're estimating a deficit of 1.3 million. That's significantly higher than what we looked at last month. Has that number been updated, or does this number need to be updated? Or am I reading that correctly?
Where are you now?
Page 68 in the 141 budget. I just want to make sure I'm not confused.
Okay.
The numbers in the budget are based on estimates at year end that got approved within the fiscal 19 budget.
Okay.
And so they don't reflect actual numbers from year end. They're unaudited.
We think what we looked at last month is still good. Okay, that's what I need to know. All right.
Any other questions? Holly's got better numbers than I do, and she presents them better, and got better format than we do, so.
I'd like to point out, or maybe just clarify a comment on page H of the budget where Madison County shows that the average salary for classroom teachers is lower than the state average. These are not the numbers that are used to determine our BEP funding. On our BEP allocation for this year, in looking at the average salaries for teachers, the weighted average salary for our district is $2,202 more than the statewide average salary. Evidently, the numbers in the budget binder are not weighted averages. Maybe it's just.
Holly is correct. These numbers are just the numbers Department of Education had on their website.
Okay.
And they are not weighted averages.
That's the difference. We've got 6 budget amendments tonight. Item number 1 is $10,000. It's the Read to Be Ready Coaching Network Grant. These funds will be used for professional development and stipends for teachers at 5 of our elementary schools. Item number 2 is $24,000. This amendment moves funding from an open position to contracted services to be used for a CTE consultant. Item number 3, $10,000. Family Academic Support Teams Grant. This grant provides funding for parent engagement opportunities at Lincoln Elementary School. It's a 3-year grant. Item number 4, $79,418. Safe Schools Act grant. Funds are to be used for new subscriptions and maintenance of the visitor management software in each school, along with continued updating of security equipment to provide a safe learning environment for students. Item number 5, $253,330. This is the school safety grant. This is the new grant we received this year from the state, and it's a non-recurring grant. Funds will be used to purchase additional cameras, repeaters, radios, visitor management software, and other similar items based on school assessments. Sure.
Real quick.
you said that's not recurring money. It looks like to me that a lot of these things would be just one-time purchase items like radios and software. So obviously, some of those things might have to be updated next year, the next year, right? Or-
Right, and we get the grant before that, the Safe Schools Act
Sure.
grant is a recurring grant.
Okay.
And so that's what we would use those funds
Okay,
for.
perfect, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, this has gone before the Financial Management Committee. This has all been approved.
And then item number 6 is Title IX, $1,097. This amendment aligns the original estimated fiscal year 19 budget to the actual budget approved by the state. These are funds that will be used for supplies and tutoring of homeless students in our district. Are there any more questions?
Is item number 1, is that the only one that applies to previously budgeted expenditures, or all of these going to be new budget expenditures? Okay, and I wasn't sure about item number 2 either.
Item number 1, I had budgeted the revenue in our fiscal year 19 budget.
Yeah.
And didn't catch the fact that I left off the expenditure side of that. And so now I'm putting the expenditures into the budget. So, yeah.
What about item number 2? Is that a new expenditure, or would that be?
It's using funds that were previously appropriated for an employee position in a different way. We're moving those funds to a consultant account.
Is the consultant a new position, I guess?
It's not a
It's
position.
not a position, it's a one-time
Okay.
cost, yeah.
It wasn't okay, all right.
Any more questions? If not, I'd like to request that a motion to be made to approve these amendments.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Thank y'all.
I've got a few more items.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. All right. The general purpose monthly financial statement is posted in e-meetings for you. This is a monthly summary of revenues and expenditures by major accounts. As of August 31st, 12.7% of the budget has been expensed or encumbered, as compared to 11.6% at the same time last year. The increase to expenditures is mostly due to some larger items being encumbered this year that were not yet encumbered at the same time last year. Current revenues were not posted at the time that I prepared the financial statement. However, as of today, they are, and they reflect that we've received $13.5 million for the year, which is 13.3% of budgeted revenues, as opposed to only 8.2% at the same time last year. And in reviewing the differences, it appears that the increase this year is contributed mostly to local option sales tax receipts. The general purpose school expenditure report is also posted for you in e-meetings. You will see the report for fiscal year 17, which is posted just for your reference, as well as the report for fiscal year 18. This is a summary report of annual expenditures by school location broken out by major categories. This gives you the average per student cost by school. When comparing schools within the same grade bands, the per school averages do not have as much of a variance in fiscal year 18 as they did in fiscal year 17. And we anticipate that the averages may be even more in line this year due to personnel changes that were made based on enrollment. Does anyone have any questions?
Very, this is a wonderful report. Does this still take a lot of effort to get this report? This is a
It takes
great,
some time,
this
but-
is a great report, Harry. Is it possible to get, the enrollments here, are they average enrollments for the year, or is this end of the year enrollments, or what number is that?
These are mid-year enrollments.
These are
For
mid-year,
the prior years, yes.
okay. So this would be enrollment at mid-year.
We were taking the expenditures for the whole year, and so I decided that it may be best to use mid-year numbers for enrollment and teacher numbers versus
Yeah.
beginning or end of year.
And Eric, the tuition cost at early college high, that's in these numbers.
That's in the, yes, those are the numbers from, and the cost from last year was probably the lowest that it would be. This year will probably be more of the consistent cost that you'll see there, and we're budgeting that to be probably running at about $200,000 a year.
Is our enrollment settled enough? Could we get per school enrollment numbers for this year?
Yes.
Okay, that'd be helpful to look at.
It's settled as much as
That
much
much
as
is
be
gonna
settled
be-
in our district, yes.
That'd be helpful if we could
Yes.
look at that.
That's one reason we just had the printed budgets come out now, because especially for schools in some areas of the county, the employee numbers change so much. Until I get September numbers, I don't like to put anything out as far as in stone yet. September numbers ought to be fairly close.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question for you, on the monthly financial statement on, under account description, 73400, that's the early childhood education budget. What all does that encompass?
That pays for salaries, benefits, and supplies for the preschool programs. We have 20 preschool classrooms, and each has a teacher and an assistant.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, action item, Jackson Street resolution. Ray's not here to.
I'll explain. So if this was the last piece of property that we needed to purchase to be able to move forward with the renovations to Whitehall, we are still looking at other properties, but we needed this one to be able to get the work started. If you're looking at Whitehall, it's an abandoned home that was right there on the corner, the white home. That's what this purchased. We'd already have purchased a lot on the backside, and we're looking at a couple of vacant lots on the backside that we want to purchase as well. But this was a key purchase so that we can go ahead and move forward with the bidding process. And so we opened we have a September 18th bid walkthrough, and we'll be able to hopefully start pricing out what this will cost, and soon afterwards get the work started on the addition. It'll be 10 classrooms that'll be added to that space. Roughly 14,000 square feet will be added to the Whitehall property, and some additional parking will go on the front and the back. And we are going to have a nice wrought iron gate that will go along the entire backside and close off that property as we try to acquire more land. But this purchase allows us to move forward with the building project. And that's what that resolution is saying.
I can make a motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Johnson, second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Hampton. Any further discussion?
I had one question there. Now, we fund when the city purchases it at that time, but then the city subsequently comes in and demolishes the house. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So we pay for it and they do the work.
And they come back and then
And they come-
demolish it
yes.
afterwards? Okay.
Yes. That is my understanding.
Yeah, okay.
Ray and Alan had prior engagements, else they would be much more apt to answer that question. So if I did speak wrong, I will come back and tell
But
you.
it's raised on it?
Yes.
Okay.
Further discussion? With no further, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous. All right, next on the agenda are questions.
All right, so the instructional salary funding increases. I want to make sure I speak on this and explain how this worked. And I'm glad that Holly and Mike explained that salary that you saw average salary on this page did not have the accurate information. It's actually about $2,200 more than our average teacher's salary is. And we'll make sure we get that information, correct information out to you. But what the state gives us is an allocation in regards to instructional salaries. They gave us about $368,000 for instructional salaries. And they give you discretion on how to distribute those funds. As long as it goes to the instructional salaries and salaries with benefits to teachers, you are covered in how you distribute those funds. So we use those funds to pay the one-time bonus payment to teachers instead of the salary. And the one-time bonus totaled up to about $401,000. So it was actually more than we had for the BEP allocation. And so it was not a mandate from the state that we had to use it toward salary increases, but it did have to go toward teachers. And that's what it went toward. I know there was some discussion about that, but that is the truth. And we do have budgeted next year, because I heard it mentioned, that we are at least want to do a 1.5% raise for teachers next year. And that is in the budget, long-term budget for us, and we broadcast it over the next 2 to 3 years to try to make that happen. It was a very tough decision and not to give those raises this year, but we do feel very good about where we are foundationally. Those monies did not go to waste. They did go to instructional supplies and textbooks for students, which we have long neglected. And I understand full well why Dr. Ruffin had to make some of those decisions. But I think we paid dearly because of it, and we had to make some tough decisions, but we needed to get strong curriculum in our students' hands and get in their hands quickly. That's where we are.
Question. Dr. Jones, you and I had a discussion concerning this because we had some concerned teachers, asking in regards to their pay that was due to them from the state. So in regards to what you're saying, they will be receiving the bonus this year, is that correct? Okay. Will it be by the end of the year or anytime sooner, or?
It will be by Christmas.
It'll be by Christmas, okay. Also, you had stated that you had looked at a possible increase of a 1.5% raise next year for the teachers. Is it by any possibility that it may be a little bit more, another 5% to add it up to 2, or you don't know at this particular time, or?
I don't know at this particular time.
Okay, all right.
Anything that we can talk about that, but as we broadcast out, that is where we landed.
Okay. So, and also, and listen to what Holly and Mr. Nichols was stating, we are on track when it comes to teacher salaries, that they are above the state mandate, okay? I believe that's coming up a little bit earlier about the test scores, okay? And then I'll just comment a little bit further on that, okay? And the last statement was that, I'm just wanting to know if you have met with Ms. Price with JMCA concerning the issues about the teachers and their bonuses and not the particular raise. Okay.
We had a conversation.
Okay.
Email.
Okay.
We talked a few times.
Yes.
Okay. So we are on track when it comes to the bonuses? Okay.
Next item, I think Ms. Hampton wants us to talk about the possible establishment of a teacher retention committee.
Yes. Basically, this came about in regards to many of our teachers. We lost a lot of them in the past couple of years, whether they went to another district or they decided to retire. But we didn't get the necessary information that we needed to have gotten from them, whether they left the district to go to another one or whether they just decided to retire, either way. Or, you know, I said this before Dr. Ruffin came into play, and I'll say it now. You know, I believe that our district have excellent teachers, you know, and we need our teachers, you know, and what by means necessary, whatever it would possibly take in order to keep them in our district. We need to definitely know this. We need to have an accuracy of what's going on while they're leaving or while they're deciding to retire, etc. So with this going on, I just stated that maybe we should have a teachers retention committee comprised of teachers. However, Dr. Jones, you may want to meet with your academic staff to determine how you want to organize this. But this would give us a better information on where we need to be, on how we need to operate when it comes to our teachers, to make sure that we're doing the right thing in order to retain them in this particular district.
Hampton, can I ask you a question about that?
Yes.
Are you thinking more of like an exit interview process?
Well, that will include that as
Okay.
well, but I'm thinking brought to, you know, basically just getting one established here. So, you know, when there's a need arises, you know, JMCEA can't do it all by themselves. You know, Earlene is just one person, you know, and obviously the word is not getting out the way it needs to get out, or either there's a lack of understanding when it comes to some things what Dr. Jones is trying to put in place and what they're specifically asking. And so with this being stated, you know, a committee needs to be formed, you know, with whatever teachers, elementary, middle school, you know, high school, just to see, you know, where we are and what their needs are, how to keep them, you know, what it's gonna take, you know, what they feel like our district is needing. And that way, you know, this could be brought to Dr. Jones by JMCA, and they can really so much propose some type of just do a proposal of whatever issues that they're having and bring it up to him so that he's able to address those issues without Ms. Price with JMCEA, you know, having that, you know, hardship up on her back and just trying to transfer that information back to teachers as needed. Also, as far as the exit interview, I think we'll have more accuracy of why the teachers are leaving, you know, and that'll give us a clear, concise way of better keeping up with records. I know we tried to do it one year with just having them sign a sheet or whatever, but that was not effective enough. And so if we do have these committee of teachers normally gravitate to other teachers, and they're able to talk with them a little bit more. So we're able to get a more concise history about what's going on, what's needed, you know, where we need to be, etc.
What's the Dr. Jones, what's the process right now for when a teacher exits on their own volition?
It's not consistent. They actually have exit interview forms. We don't always get them filled out for a multitude of reasons. But we have not been intentional about our effort to get that information. We get it sometimes, but we have not put an intentional effort towards it. So we have the process in place, just a matter of really executing it and getting our ducks in a row to do that.
It makes sense to include a teacher with the teacher retention, like an intervention type system to catch them before they're gone. Maybe correct some issues in the process. Would that be part of that?
That's the key.
Okay.
Oh, again, like she said, you say it's not intentional, but we'll start doing it intentional. And we have excellent teachers who can, again, Ms. Price, we can use also the retired teachers as well as veteran teachers who are already there. So again, like you said, a committee, and it should be ongoing.
Dr. Jones, is there any way that we can get
just the numbers of how many teachers have left our district over the last 10 years, just to see,
Well, about
or
10,
as far
but
back as,
I'll go back
you know,
as far
just
as we can
wondering
go.
when, to see what, so we can sort of look and see what is
Yes.
actually going on.
Yeah, with details on their choice, our choice.
Yeah, that would be.
So it typically will be broken down by non-renewals, retirees, and volunteer resignations.
This is on the human capital report, it just,
No, well, we can get you a yearly breakdown. I just don't know how many years. And Dr. Green's mother is ill, and she's having to tend to her. That's why she's not here. But I can get you. I don't know how far we can go back, but I'll go back as far as we can to get you that information.
Question, my understanding is some of them are leaving without a 30 days notice, or all of them are heeding to the 30-day notice.
Sometimes it's best for all parties involved and I'm being serious.
Okay.
We had a recent one where that one needed to go ahead and do that. But of late, we typically try to hold them to those 30 days. But there are some instances where it's usually my discretion because there are some instances where it's best for all parties that they go ahead and go.
Dr. Jones, if I'm, this would possibly also include those that are ill and we're having to make decisions, within the sick leave bank concerning them, because I believe that we have some that's been out a very, very, long time. And when they do leave, there's not a record of them leaving as far as being disabled, okay, due to their health. And I believe that we need to get an accurate record of that too.
All right. Update on test scores. We have received our final numbers from the state, but right now they are embargoed until September 21st, so they cannot be released. But my intent is whatever date we decide for our retreat, to give you all the information you want and then some on those test scores. But right now it's embargoed and that information can't come out until September 21st, so we have a little bit of time. It helps actually so that we can give you an encompassing picture of what those test scores encompass. Any questions there? The governor's tour concerning Ten Ready, he will be in West Tennessee on September the 18th. It'll be at Dyer Elementary in Gibson County. And I wrote the time down. 3:30 to 5 o'clock, I believe, is the time. And we do have a few teacher representatives that were nominated by their principals to go attend on behalf of the Jackson-Madison County Schools. So they will be in attendance. But that date is September 18th at Dyer Elementary, and it'll be at 3:30. And if that number is, that time is wrong, I will let you know. But I called Director Pruitt today to get that information in Madonna.
All right. Any other discussion? We'll move on then. Any suggested October agenda items, please submit those to Janet as soon as possible. All right, discussion items. Y'all received a previous email asking for your interest in any school board committees. Those committees consist of the Budget Committee, the Long Range Planning Committee, the Technology Committee, the Insurance Committee, and the Sick Leave Bank. I think most everybody has submitted some interest. That'll be up to the chairman to decide who will be on those committees, except the Insurance Committee. I think the interest there was rather low, so.
And sick leave.
I'm sorry, I just heard insurance. So please reconsider, get with Janet email Janet or Kevin as soon as you can and let them know if you're interested, and I'll send you further interest since I just will. So, the Student Advisory Committee, we also received the recommendations from the principals for the Student Advisory Committee. You and the chairman will get with them, and I think we've already discussed holding meetings, committee meetings in the afternoons after school hours so that they would be able to attend, and also for a representation from the Education Association could attend those committee meetings. All right, and the board retreat schedule, that's been somewhat of a difficult issue between everybody's hectic schedules in September, and October's not looking a lot better. I know Dr. Jones is out the first 2 weekends in October, as am I, as are probably some of y'all that have kids in the system. So we're open for suggestions. What, around the 20th, was that the first available weekend?
20th October,
Yes,
Saturday.
yes. Any other suggestions? A weekday? How's that?
We try to do it on the 19th, a Friday night, and a Saturday.
That's fine. If we feel like we need that much time, yeah, that's great. Friday afternoon.
So we could,
Oh, no, go ahead.
I mean, we could do a Friday evening and get some business done and just go as long as we need to on Saturday. I just hate to pigeonhole us to Saturday and we don't get done what we need to get done.
Right.
So,
But then are we talking Saturday and Friday evening, Saturday?
Friday
Yes.
evening, Saturday.
The past 2 years, that's what we've done, is a Friday afternoon, starting about 5 o'clock until roughly 9, and then picking back up at 8 o'clock the next morning.
Like that was a good time instead of trying to do like 10 hours on a Saturday.
That's correct. Okay.
Yes.
well, for me it may be good because by the time you get to the end of the day on Saturday, you just start saying yes.
I like everybody, but I don't like everybody that much. So, do those look like good times to everybody?
Yeah.
19th and 20th, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Our building is still available, as far as I know, at the Jackson-Madison County Regional Health Department Conference Room, 804 North Parkway. I will double check and let Janet know first thing in the morning. And now we need to discuss rescheduling October's meetings because of the same reason, fall break is that time. Any possibility we could move it up to that first week of October? Does that pose great challenges to anybody?
Would we do a combined, just to make it easier?
That might be best with that one.
Do it on the 4th.
On the 4th? Yes, Thursday the 4th. Is that date and time all right with everyone?
That's fine with me.
About the 4th, Wayne?
Yes, sir.
Did we,
Are we combining?
we said a combined work
Combined
session
work
and meeting.
session and
Okay.
meeting, yes.
Ed Vision will be on October 16th of that month.
everybody caught up with the meeting times, the rescheduled meeting times? 5:30, October 4th. Yes. All right, following that, any update on the Education Foundation, sir?
Yes, the attorneys met about 2 weeks ago, and Dale received their initial final draft, and we're sending a rebuttal back to them that is more in line with our best interest, and hopefully next week we will hear back from the attorneys to hopefully finalize the bylaws for the foundation. So the attorneys are hopefully nearing a resolution that we can bring back to the board to seek approval. Hope to have that next week. Watching ball game.
Mike, could you catch us up on the game? Okay.
So I failed to talk about it, but I have a few updates I definitely want to address and talk about to bring the board up to speed on a few things.
I don't want to interrupt you. Have we moved past the Education Foundation? Is that a question about that?
Yes, okay.
Because Mr. Jeff Wall, who was elected to the county commission, was a school board appointed person to the Education Foundation, and he has resigned from that foundation. So do we need to have a conversation about reappointing a school board appointee to that foundation? Or do we want to wait till they get the bylaws worked out? I don't know. And I wasn't part of the board at the time when they were appointed, so some of you veterans could probably explain to us how that process worked. I don't know.
We do need to reappoint for Jeff's position.
Yeah.
And probably take that up during the very next meeting.
Okay.
Suggest having some names submitted by that meeting. Yeah. That we can vote on. By the
So-
October meeting.
So did you have, I'm sorry, if this question is out of turn, as the parliamentarian, I probably should know that, but I don't, so.
We'll grant you a little leeway.
Thank you, I
tonight.
appreciate that, Mr. Arnold. Should we have resumes of people that we would like to recommend to the board? I don't know how Dr. Jones or the chairman would want to go about doing that. Just some guidance would be great.
Last time, all we really looked for were people that we knew would be interested and pledged to serve
Sure.
when they came on. A little background information's not gonna hurt.
Sure. Perfect.
So just for clarifying purposes, would you like for the board members to submit names to Janeth, and we bring them before the board in the next board meeting to vote on our next appointee?
Yeah. That way, we would all kind of know beforehand, a little bit of information about.
We let Jeff put some, in. I mean, if he want, do you have any input?
In my opinion. First of all, thank you for bringing that up. No,
Well, I saw you out of the corner of my eye, and I was like, wait just a second. We can
No,
talk
I
about
did
that.
want to thank everyone for the opportunity to be able to serve on that foundation committee. And that committee is vitally important to what you guys are going to be doing. I had the great opportunity of being involved in several of those meetings and trying to work out the bylaws like you were talking about. My suggestion and opinion, for that matter, is that you do that fairly quickly, that you reappoint somebody to that position, because it is very important to this board that you have those two members on that committee. Gary Taylor, I believe, is the other member that's on there now. Is doing a phenomenal job with by supporting and representing this board very well on that committee. The way that it happened before is basically the board members, when I was approached before, is that just basically you were looking at people who were already involved in the schools, you know, had education at heart, a passion for education, and those kind of things. And that would just be my opinion. Look for somebody that has a heart for education and that wants to do that very thing.
So could I ask you to, like, if you had some people in mind, maybe some people that you've come in contact with in your work with the foundation,
Certainly.
if you would send those of us on the board an email and maybe
Absolutely.
suggest them?
Absolutely, I would.
Because we're kind of like, you know, we don't know.
Oh, absolutely, I can do that.
Okay.
There are several that are in the system that would be very good for that position.
Okay,
I would
thank
be
you.
more than happy to suggest that for you. Okay? Any other
Yeah.
questions?
Good suggestion. I agree.
While Jeff is up there, I know that the trunk or treat's coming up.
Only.
Are we gonna be involved in that in any way? Is there any plan for us to be involved in that in any way? Not to put you on the spot.
Board member, yeah, I think the board members are dressing up in their outfits.
Hey, I'm all about this. Okay, this
Is
is
that right,
great.
Jim? That's what we're doing.
My new trunk or treat spokesperson, Dr. Eric Jones.
I think typically we do provide busing to transport people from the baseball field.
From the parking to the
lot,
baseball, yeah.
the smaller children baseball field parking lot,
Right.
up to the actual baseball field. And I don't know what else we do.
Well, I'll just take the opportunity to really, contributions, you do that. Ms. Hampton has done that every single year, and I do appreciate you personally for doing that. We do ask for contributions to actually purchase the candy for the children. The county, the city has done that for every year. This will be the 11th year that the trunk or treat will be in existence. Mr. Jim Campbell has supported us through H&M every single year as well, along with 85 of our local businesses here in Jackson and Madison County. When I started this event off 11 years ago, we had 84 children to show up. I went personally to Sam's Club and bought $100 worth of candy and went through that in like 10 minutes and it was all over with. We were in the service merchandise parking lot. Last year we saw almost 18,000 children and their families, along with these 84 businesses that we have to support. I'm sorry? Absolutely. October the 27th is the date this year. And we also do I came up with another actually the only fundraiser that we do every year back last month, which was the Jackson-Madison County Fabulous Feud, and it was fabulous. We had Dr. Jones, we had a lot of people within the system that we had to participate in that, and we were able to collect enough from that fundraiser to fund this event, both last year and this year. So when Ms. Hampton had mentioned that just a few minutes ago, I wasn't going to mention contributions again this year because we have met our goals for this year. But what I would ask for the individual board members to do, if it is any way possible for you and you have time in your schedule, is to come to the event. To represent the board and the school system and things like that. That's very important that I think you're going to have every child within the Jackson-Madison County School System just about there, plus some. We're talking about earlier we were talking about the children who may have left the system or whatever, and this is just a prime opportunity to be able to get in front of those children and their families and things like that. And I think it's a prime opportunity for you to be able to do that as a board.
What's the time?
The time starts at 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock on the 27th.
On the 27th, right, it's Saturday the 27th, the Saturday right before Halloween.
All right, where?
Jackson General's Ballpark. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Jeff. Back on you.
All right. A couple updates I want to talk to you about. In regards to Liberty, we had a very productive meeting with the administrative team from Liberty today. It's about an hour-and-a-half meeting to really game plan and strategize ways that we can improve and be of support with those issues that they're facing. There are some short-term things that I think can really help, and there are some long-term discussions that the board is going to have in regards to some zoning things there that we're going to have a discussion about and figure out what's the best course of action. And we will talk more about that in that retreat. of course, I will never come to you without having a suggestion, and I will have one, but it's definitely left to be torn up and put back together, and we will do so. Yes.
May I ask a question in reference to that? Is that something that's going to, once we have, during the retreat and we talk about it, how soon can we actually move on that?
Well, it depends on what we're moving on. Some of it we can move on. We're already moving on.
Okay.
Some of the other things, it will be a long-term decision that, when I say long-term, at the start of next school year, with some of those decisions.
And release some, but the majority of it will be at the end of the school year. Gotcha.
We have been meeting with the Juvenile Justice Department and Judge Little quite a bit to talk about truancy. Mike talked about the ADM, that's average daily membership. We get a huge chunk of our funding is just simply how many of our students are coming to school every day. And we do have a truancy issue. And we have put together an extensive plan that I will be emailing out to you tomorrow that really outlines every step along the process of if you miss this amount of days, how the school steps in, if you miss this amount of days, how the school steps in, and eventually how the DA office, we've been meeting with Jody Pickens and his team, and how they step in and support, and then also how Judge Little steps in and support. And I must say that we've had very, very, very productive conversations with Judge Little and her team, and really think we're going to have a means of stepping up our effort. Every school now has a designated stipend person that will meet with these students that are truant to find out what the issues are. Not only find out what the issues are, start pointing them toward community resources to help with those issues. Trying to be as proactive as we can on this side of it because we don't want it to get to the juvenile detention office. But it's really designed to identify what are the barriers, but also get information because some of these students are unfortunately missing due to some home issues that we need to intervene in. So we really have stepped up our efforts there because you can't learn if you're not at school. But the best place for a lot of those children is in the school to get their needs met. So we are very confident in this plan. Now it's just a matter of working the plan. Yes.
I would be interested in where we are right now, and then by year end, where we are, we could get that report.
Absolutely. That will be a part of those update on test scores. So there is a measure now within our accountability report that looks at your chronically out-of-school students. These are students that are suspended. These are students that are just missing school. There's no such thing as an excused or unexcused absence. If you're out of school, you're out of school. And if you miss more than 10% of the school year, you fall into this category. And we have quite a few of our students that are in this category. And as we started looking at data, a lot of it was out-of-school suspensions. Quite a bit of it is out-of-school suspension. And the other piece is absences. So this plan is designed to address the absence piece.
I understood that you worked with Judge Little, Amy Jones, the DA,
Yes.
all the juvenile court people. So everybody's kind of agreed on this plan.
Yes.
So.
And DCS.
Oh, very good.
Yes. So it took us a while to get it all together, but we've gotten it together. Dr. Williams and Corey Curry have done an outstanding job of coordinating that. Corey has really been after it. And we have identified Some schools that have more truancy issues have 2 people that are paid this stipend to do this. But we've met with those appointees, and we're going to have to continue to have meetings with them because once you start meeting with students and talking about the issues, we got to coach them up on where we direct them next, those families, to get the support they need.
Question. So who's paying the stipend to these individuals? In
The school district.
The school district, okay. So are they people that's already in our district or, okay?
They are certified employees that could take it on. A lot of them are school counselors because they're a lot of them are the obvious choice. But some of them are teachers that have the ability. So they'll be going to homes and knocking on doors and finding out what's going on and reaching out both in person and also by phone to get them, the parents in for meetings to really be. It is not designed to be punitive. That's not the idea. It's designed to be proactive and find out what's going on. And the punitive piece for the parents is the last option. But we want to make sure that we've shown that we've done all that we can do on the supportive side to help them get the help they need.
This is more prevention than
Yes.
than anything.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But we also have to, what's been a missing piece is people understood that the school system, there's only so much that we could do. And if that piece behind it doesn't have some weight to it, i.e. our juvenile justice department, we weren't going to get what we needed. So kudos.
Knows about that. She and I both spent
Kudos
many years
to,
in juvenile
but I
court.
want to do again say kudos to the district attorney and Judge Little because they have up to this point done an outstanding job of helping us put this plan into place.
It's the only other thing that I would add to that, and prevention is good. But based upon my experience, that it's got to have a punitive measure in there somewhere along the line. So part of that is.
It does get to a punitive measure. Yes,
State law allows there to be.
absolutely.
$50 a day.
So
The parents are supposed
you'll
to
see that in the
serve
plan,
time.
but there is a measure that does hold parents accountable. Absolutely. Yes.
Very good. And does this piece have any literacy component to it? Because we all know that when students are missing, it always has something to do with, I can't keep up. And that's one of the reasons I'm out. I don't want to come to school.
Well, the literacy component is what is happening in the school that we're trying to get them to.
I know,
Yeah,
but once we get them there, you're gonna have to do something to keep them there.
Absolutely. Also, we had a extensive meeting with our high school principals and the guidance counselors to really put together a plan to improve our credit recovery and the work that happens there. Our Bridge Academy, and our Bridge Academy are those students that have fallen behind significantly in their high school credits, and it is an online piece that allows them to do work online to get caught up. And then those students that have children or have to take care of parents to where they just cannot do the things they need to do during the regular school day just because of issues that are out of their control sometimes. We have that at Parkview Learning Center, and we really have done some things to improve that process. Up until about 2 years ago, this was outsourced to Ombudsman, a outside entity, but now we have taken over that within the district. We have some retired teachers that are working on 120-day contracts to help at the Bridge Academy. But also, in that same meeting, we talked about tracking of our graduation rate. From the data from the 2016-17 school year, we did not meet our graduation rate target. And so It is definitely on our radar, and we didn't miss it terribly bad, but anything that we're not where we need to be, we have to address it. So we really looked at some measures to really talk about catching those students before it gets too late. But those ninth grade, you can look at our failure rates. Some of this I'm going too far because I need to talk about it in the retreat, but there's a direct correlation to your ninth grade failure rates and your dropout rates. They are identical. With our ninth grade failure rates, then I don't say failure rates, these are students that have failed 3 or more classes. You can see a direct correlation there to our graduation rate. So what can we do to be more proactive and put a plan of attack in place to address that? Also, I want to give a shout out to RIFA. I don't know if you know that RIFA does a Pack the Bus, and I serve on the board with RIFA, and we were out at 4 locations within the city, and we had school buses out front, and we would give people a list of items that we would like for them to purchase as they're in there, things like ramen noodles, canned goods, popcorn, things of that nature, and you'll be amazed how many people will bring back out. And we had 4 completely full busload full of items for our students. And RIFA works in our most at-risk schools to give backpacks to send home with students every week so that they have food to eat on the weekend. And we're trying to expand that within our schools as well and try to find ways to get to the older ones. The older students don't necessarily want that because it identifies them. So how can we find a way to get them what they need without feeling like they're being called out? But RIFA has done an outstanding job with that. They just purchased a school bus that they are going to hook up with a mobile feeding bus that goes throughout the community during the summer, and students can go there to make sure that they get food during the summer when school is not in session. So thanks to RIFA for that. Update on school safety. Holly mentioned the funds we received. It totals about $385,000. Of that, only about $100,000 of it is recurring monies. But we have been meeting as a school safety team and really identifying what is most immediate in those needs. And right now we are coming back to communication. Our radio systems are out of date. A lot of them do not work in our schools or have to constantly be fixed, and we've been patching here, patching there. So we're going to purchase a significant amount of communication devices and also working in conjunction with the hospital to try to get on with their tower, possibly, so that our school buses, because right now our school buses, if they're in a certain part of town, they have 0 communication. So we are going to be working to get the communication piece locked down first. And then the second piece is going to be securing the entrance of our buildings. We have some places that are better than others, but we have some other places that there needs to be, if you are, let's say, go to Isaac Lane, that is the ideal place to where you have a initial point of entrance, and then you have a holding piece to where you can't get into that school until you're buzzed in. So we need to have all of our schools that have that component. So that's going to be the second layer. And then what's left, we'll prioritize where it goes. Of course, these funds do not cover the multitude of needs that we have in security, but we tried as best we could to think about what is most pressing and what is equitable for all schools. And the communication and securing the entrance jumped out. And I also want to say this. I want to go back to our teachers are doing an outstanding job this school year. I go back to our TVOS scores. Those are our growth scores. We saw significant growth in almost all of our schools. And it's now, growth and achievement are 2 different stories. We still have a long way to go in achievement, but you can't get the achievement without the growth. And we'll talk more about that in our retreat and really lay out. But kudos to all of our schools and all of our teachers for the hard work that they did last year and the hard work that they're doing now. Right now, it's going to be a grind the next 2 weeks because everybody's trying to get the fall break. But we're going to get there, and we're going to keep the work going. And looking forward to working with this board and continue the great work.
Right, so, next on the agenda, we've already discussed the September 18th Education Vision Committee meeting. That's, I think almost everybody signed up to be on that. It's open to all members regardless. It would be nice to have all the members or most of the members there, because sometimes it got to feeling pretty bad when there were two school board members there and 8 or 10 county commissioners. And the annual calendar, if you'll look at that, that's basically that's the schedule of things that need to be done, when they need to be done, if you'll review that. And the board budget. Janice told me last week that we've almost spent all of our money by the time we go to the leadership conference in Nashville in November. So we need to be very careful about what we ask for here. And the academies for the board, I'm sure Bob told y'all all that aside from the new member orientation that you'll go to in that first week of October, the 2 days that you'll have to do one of those academies for the board members once a year by law, or else they take you out and flog you or something. I'm not sure. I never saw any real written punishment for not attending those, but you are required by law to stay on the school board to attend those academies. And Janet is very good about keeping you on your toes about that. Next up is the consent agenda. Any specific questions about that this time, since we had some earlier about the consent agenda? Nothing. All right. We are ready for adjournment. Accept the motion to adjourn. So moved.
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.